Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put one of these in every snare drum. Hey, what's up everybody? Today I have something in this box that I would almost consider revolutionary, and you're probably laughing right now because it's a snare drum box, so like, you know, are snare drums revolutionary? Probably not, but it is what is inside of this snare drum that is truly revolutionary, at least in my opinion. I'm about to try it out, and I'm shooting a whole video on this, but I really wanted to capture my initial experience, my initial reaction, because unboxing something like this and trying it out for the first time is really interesting, intriguing, at least to me. And so in this box is a Pearl Masters Maple Gum snare drum, which in its own right is beautiful and an amazing sounding drum. But this drum has the revolutionary gear inside of it, and that is the Zikit Pro Kit. And what this is it's a snare drum setup that you put inside of a snare drum, and you can actually adjust the diameter of the snare drum. So this is a 14 by 6.5, but because of the Zikit Pro system in here, I should be able to get a 14 by 6.5, a 12 by 6.5, and a 10 by 6.5, all out of the same snare drum, which blows my mind. So prepare to have your minds blown while my mind's blown while I open this box. Let's go. Oh, that is pretty. Look at that. But immediately I see it. Look at this. This has a switch on it. It's nice. It like matches really well. It looks really nice. So it's got a 10, a 12, and a 14. 14 is in the center. So technically this should be a 14-inch snare drum. Then this should now be a 12-inch snare drum, and then this should be a 10-inch snare drum. All right, this is it. This is the moment. Woo, that is a big and beefy snare drum. I love that. Oh yeah, that's a 14, that's for sure. So why don't we just get crazy here and see what happens with a 10. So all the way down with a switch. No. I've really become a lover of smaller snare drums lately. I don't really own a lot of them, but I tried a 13 by 6.5 20-ply reference snare drum that like it just felt so cool because of the smaller diameter. And that's a treat. Okay, so 10 is really small. Let's see. Let's go back to 14. So we've got 14. Which it's mind-blowing that I just had a 10-inch snare drum sitting here, and with one lever switch, it now sounds back to its full beefy 14. I think the thing I was most interested in was whether or not this heavy metal system was going to choke the drum out. But I mean, you hear that. That's a very full sounding 14 that continues to resonate. It is not choked. It does not sound like you're missing anything from the drums. That's impressive. I'm like really impressed with that. All right. Now let's see the 12. So this weighs 12. Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put one of these in every snare drum. Listen to the sensitivity of the snare. You really you're getting that 10-inch feel and sound. Let's see what it sounds like 12 to 14. Zikit drums. You guys have done something here. I mean, this is revolutionary. What is inside of this snare drum actually drastically changes the user experience of playing a snare drum, of gigging, of getting different snare tones, because this snare right here can actually produce 6 different tones instead of the standard 2. On a normal snare, you have your snares on and you have your snares off, and if you want to change the sound, you have to retune the drum, you have to throw a big fat snare drum on it, you have to do something to get a different sound. This right here can do 6 different tones, 3 different size snare drums, all in this one drum. So I come to the gig with one snare stand. I minimize having to bring an aux snare. I minimize all these different issues because of what's going on in this drum. And that, I would say, actually is innovation and revolutionary for a gigging drummer, for a studio drummer like myself. So I just, I can't get enough of what this can do for you, and the price point too. I was thinking about it and I was like, what is a fair price for this? And when I saw the actual price, I was like, okay, not only is that fair, but as a drummer, what this does for me, I would probably pay more for it, because it truly minimizes what you have to bring to the gig. It minimizes the need for additional snare stands and hardware. And yes, there are limitations in the fact that if you want to play the 14-inch and an aux snare and not have to flip a switch or anything like that, of course, this isn't going to solve all of those issues for you. But if you have a set as a gigging drummer and you are like, hey, on this song I need a big fat 14-inch snare sound, on this song I need something really cutting and sharp, and just a smaller, like a 12-inch kind of sound for this pop tune, you have them both and you can switch between them from song to song. Or if you have breaks in your songs and you want to transition and change the tone of your snare within those breaks in the songs, it's very simple, it's very easy, and you can see me do it. You know, it's one of those things where it's truly just fantastic. So the Zikit system has two options for you for purchase. You can either get the system and install it in your own snare drum. It comes with everything you need. It comes with all of the hardware necessary to install, to even drill the hole in the drum so that you do not damage your drum. It's a pretty foolproof system. From what I've been told, it's been done many, many times by many different people, and there's really been no issues with the process because it's very simple and it comes with everything you need. But you can also purchase the Zikit system already inside of two different snare drum options from Zikit. All of those links in the description there will take you to check out the system and the snare options that you can get. So another way that this can transform your gigging ability is that if you use the Zikit system as a secondary aux snare, you can have your main snare tuned the way that you like to use for most songs, but your aux snare can now become a lower pitch drum, it can become a higher pitch drum, it can become an in-between pitch drum. So you now have those three options as your side snare, and you don't need to have different snare drum options for an aux. You can just have the singular aux snare drum that you can adjust the tuning and the sound on. Same thing goes for the main snare. Then you don't even need an aux snare if you're able to get the sound that you want from your 14 and then switch it to the 12 or to the 10. Or maybe the 12 is your main and the 14 is your deep and the 10 is your higher pitched. There's so many options that this brings you, so many melodic capabilities with the snares off and with the snares on, and so many tonal options that it just changes the game. It completely changes the game. And it's one of those things where instead of purchasing multiple drums and having a lot on hand, you're able to minimize the cost of getting all those different snare sounds by having just the single system. And for me, that's something that makes this snare drum now one of my most useful snares, because I can take it with me and I have all those options at the ready, and I was able to, instead of investing a bunch of money into three nice snare drums in three different sizes, I can just purchase one nice snare drum in the size that is my main go-to, 14 by 6.5, and then I'm able to get those extra sizes for less than the price of one of the other drums that I would have purchased in order to get those extra sizes and extra sounds going on. So that's incredible. The whole thing is incredible. The idea is incredible. I asked the owner, I was like, where'd you even come up with this? What made you think to create something like this? Because of how smart and how great it is, you would have thought someone would have come up with it before now. And the idea is kind of like a capo on a guitar. The capo just sits on the guitar and it changes the way that the strings sound based on where you put the capo. This does the same thing for the drum head. It doesn't damage the drum head. It doesn't damage the drum. All it does is change the way that the drum head responds so that you get the different sounds that you want. I was really impressed with the feel. I was really impressed with the sound, of course, and you've heard that in those demos. But the actual feel of the drum, when you hit it, because of where the bearing edge moves to, you do feel like you're playing a different drum as well. The head gets tighter, and it feels like hitting a 10-inch drum, and then you go to the 14, and when you play it, it feels like that looser, bigger 14 sound. And for me, that enhances the playability. It enhances the feel of being able to play on this drum, and it really, really changes the experience of having one snare drum behind your kit, because it gives you all of those options and it gives you all those feels, and it really just inspires you to try new things. I don't typically play a 12 or a 10-inch snare drum, not because I don't like those sounds, but just because most snare drums that I own and have come through my studio are always 14s, because that's just your normal size. When I get a 12-inch aux snare or a 10-inch aux snare, it always gets me outside of the box. It always makes me think of new grooves and new ways to use the sounds that the snare drum can create. And now I have all of that within one of my favorite snare drums in my arsenal. And it really inspired me to do something different, to create different patterns, to create different sounds in a drum cover. And in a jam and in my solo playing, I was coming up with ideas that I hadn't come up with before, because this system enables you to jump outside of your box and to do something different and to try something different. Click the link in the description. Go check out the Zikit. You can use the promo code Cooper for 10% off and free US shipping. And I really truly believe like this is a product that will change the way that you approach your drumming, that you approach what you bring to gigs, that you approach the sound of your instrument. And I can't say enough about it. I'm blown away by it. I love it. Thank you so much to Zikit for creating a product that really does change the way that we can play a snare drum, and I think that's really fantastic. So enjoy some more playing. Check out the Zikit, link in the description, promo code Cooper, 10% off for US shipping. Let's go.